Samantha had told people this story about you.
Oh,
that's what I saw.
Wait. So now you have another contradiction in your story because you just told us that they made videos, plural, specifying other people repeating
I didn't
Samantha's
say they
story.
made videos. It was
And now you're saying she made videos specifying singular one person, that being Samantha.
Bro, you got nothing to worry about. Let's just move on.
Yeah, like Dean, this could like totally just be totally false.
So it is comments, it's not video. So then why did you say they made videos?
Dean, this could be totally false. I'm not trying to argue that you're doing this to people. I'm saying this is what I saw under a video.
Well, no, obviously it's false, and obviously no one
you're
believes
doing
it.
this,
But the only
Dean.
reason I'm digging into you so hard is because you deserve to be publicly crucified the same way you wanted me to be publicly crucified when you brought that up in the first place. There is no point in continued conversation with you. The conclusion of this is abundantly fucking clear, right? You just deserve to be publicly crucified. That's the only reason that this is still going.
Are you God?
You're getting publicly fucking crucified, right? Via the opinion of 8.4 thousand people in my chat.
Well, I just told you everything, so I don't understand why you're even arguing with me. I said that narrative, that story, what those people were saying could be totally wrong.
Name one of these people. Well, how about this? We will grant the accusation a little bit of weight, and all my fans will consider it within their perceptions of me if you could show us the accuser.
Okay, go on your TikTok. Go on your profile. Like, I'm on my phone. I can't just, like, do all this and show everyone. I'm on my phone.
Surely you can.
Got a laptop or computer? You can use that.
Jesus.
Should we kick them and move on, y'all?
I think so.
I think we can move on.
Yeah. Should we go? Should we go?
Not
okay.
cool, dude.
Okay.
Not cool, Z2.
Okay.
Z2. So here's what we'll do. As soon as
5
you
minutes
apologize,
ago, that guy would not be allowed in the country.
I just said these could be wrong. I don't think Dean is the type of person to do that.
There's not. Well, no. You are continuing to talk as if accusations even exist. Accusations don't even exist. So I'm going to give you one opportunity. I want you to say,
God.
"I'm sorry, Dean."
Okay. Jesus.
Go ahead and apologize, Z2.
I already did.
Z2, don't do it. Just change the subject. Don't do it, Z2.
Go ahead, Z2. Say, "I'm sorry, Dean."
I already said Dean's not that type of person, so...
Can you give me an apology?
I just publicly announced that you wouldn't do that, so I don't know why you're still...
Well, I don't want you to just publicly announce that I want to do that. I want you to apologize.
It's all about grace and forgiveness, guys.
All right, Dean, I apologize.
We were just talking about immigration. How did we get here?
Very good boy. Very good boy. Renee, thank you for the money gun. And Devin, thank you for the $2 on Venmo. And Sydney, thank you for the $1 on Venmo. And we're down to 5. So I'm going to go back to my original question. Let's go ahead and hit it head on. So I got a question for the 5 of y'all that are left.
Yes,
if there was a migrant that showed up, Kiefer, thank you so much for the galaxy. I really appreciate that. If there was a migrant that showed up at our southern border that had been convicted of 34 felonies, had raped an American woman, had sexualized American little girls, had admitted that they had a plan to coup our democracy and rig an election, and had called for the termination of our Constitution, would they be let into our country?
Of course not.
No.
I understand where you're going with
this is a
I know, he's contradicting Trump as an immigrant. I see what he's doing.
So Donald Trump, right? Everything I just said applies to Donald Trump. So in other words, you'd say if Donald Trump was from Mexico, he wouldn't even be let into our country, but because he's from New York, he should be allowed to run the country.
But he's not a convicted felon until the sentence was passed. So the sentence was never passed. That's how law works.
He'll never see jail time, though. He will never see jail time, though.
So you don't need to be sentenced in order to be a convicted felon. The conviction becomes before sentencing.
Not really, though, because he's not a convicted felon.
Do I need to show you the conviction?
They're gone. They're gone.
No, they're not.
They're gone. It's over.
He's not going to see
quite
jail
frankly,
time.
not
Hunter
gone.
Biden's going to see more jail time.
He's convicted for 34 felonies.
That whole thing about him graping Eugene Carroll.
Okay, we can talk about the civil court case for grape next. First of all, we're going to talk about the felonies. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the record. So you're talking about sentence. So you don't get money from criminal proceedings. So what you're talking about his criminal proceedings with the fact that his sentencing was postponed and delayed, and his sentencing most likely won't happen once he's the president. Okay, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. However, right, you don't need to be sentenced in order to be convicted. In fact, conviction comes first, right? And a unanimous jury of 12, right, convicted Trump of 34 felony counts, meaning that Trump is a convicted felon.
Do you think they'll be overturned?
I'm looking at it right now.
Do you think he'll win in the appeals court, Dean?
No, there's no grounds to appeal the charges on. He is a convicted 34-count felon.
You don't think he's going to win in the appeals court?
On what grounds does he have to appeal the 34 felony counts?
Well, most of them are typically misdemeanor charges, right?
So what was the felony he was convicted of?
The hush money, the fraud, with his business. These are all misdemeanor.
So you don't know
charges.
the name of the charge?
This
I
is
don't know
just
the
big
exact
power
name,
going
but I know
after.
the charge.
Okay, we have 5 Trump supporters on here. Can anyone name one of the felonies that Trump was convicted of?
But why do we need to know the exact name? It's
Because you're saying that they're misdemeanors, and that's the
well, they
ground
are.
that
You can know they're misdemeanors without knowing the name of the charge.
Actually, no, I digress. I disagree. You don't even know what he's charged with, but
Okay,
then you're
well,
going to posit
am I
these silly
wrong? Are they not
ideas,
typically
right? Such as
misdemeanors?
no, they're never misdemeanors.
Okay.
No. So does
That's
anyone
just
know what he was charged with? Does
unfortunately.
any of the 5 people on this live know what he was charged with?
Hush money.
No, wrong. Okay,
That's
he was
not
charged
wrong.
with
Hush
What are you
mile.
talking
Taking
about?
out federal
Hush
is
money
wrong.
and
It is
confidential
wrong.
file.
Literally
No,
not.
he was not charged with hush money. In fact, him paying off
taking out
Stormy
federal
Daniels
funds from
had
campaign funding
nothing.
and
One
paying
moment,
with that.
had nothing to do with the 34 felony counts as applied to Donald Trump. Okay,
I know,
Donald
but hush
Trump was
money was
convicted
consensual.
of 34 counts of falsification of business records. Okay, and falsification of business records with an intent to commit a second crime is a Class E felony in the state of New York. And here's my problem with all 5 of you. You are so brain rotted, you are so mentally decayed that you are
Hey,
willing
be
to
nice.
ignore the truth. You are so willing to contort reality, and you are so willing to exist inside this echo chamber of cognitive dissonance and irrationality, where you will posit that he was charged with misdemeanors that were labeled as felonies, and they're going to get appealed while all not knowing what he was charged with.
But Dean, you can look this up.
I just told you what he was
They are
charged with.
It
typically
was hush
misdemeanors.
money. It was the hush money. It was under his business record. That's the only thing he left out. But I mean, he told you pretty much what it was. I don't.
No.
Dean, why are you standing on
Paying
this?
money to Stormy Daniels was not illegal, right?
This
What
is
the
a
illegal
quick
part
Google
was
search.
was
Was that
authorizing
falsified business
checks,
records?
right, from his estate, from his campaign funds, right, and labeling them for another purpose compared to where the funds went. Okay, and I told you what the name of the felony was. I told you the class of felony it is in the state of New York, and I told you why it's constituted to be a felony.
Yeah, but
Well, isn't it
typically
fair to say that the
felonies. It's a quick Google search, man. The fact that you're just lying about that is weird.
What am I lying about specifically?
That they're not typically misdemeanors. They are.
Okay, now so it is a Class C felony. It's not a misdemeanor one day, then a felony the next day. I think what you're describing to me is something other than what he got charged with. So
34 counts.
he got charged with falsification of business records with an intent to commit a second crime, which has always been a Class C felony. What you are referencing is falsification of business records without an intent to commit a second crime. Okay,
What was
that
the
is
intent of
always
the
a
second
misdemeanor,
crime?
but with the intention to commit a second crime, that is always a felony, and that's what he was convicted of.
What was the intent of the second crime?
So it's with an intent to commit a second crime. What you're meaning to ask is what was the second crime?
No, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, we don't
What do you-
know. Because in accordance
Okay.
with New York state law, they don't have to specify a specific second crime. That is the law.
That doesn't make any sense. So these are misdemeanors. Dude. You just explained it to yourself. If there's no intent for a second
because
crime,
Do you really
it
think
may
he
be
did
12
it,
a
or
second
do you
crime.
think it was?
the 12 jurors were given an option of 3 second crimes, right? What they specifically chose was an intent to sway the outcome of an election, right? But it doesn't matter because in accordance with New York state law, they don't need to name the second crime, right? The jury just has to find it beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt that he committed with intention a second crime, and that's why he falsified the business record. Sunshine, thank you for the subscription. That is New York state law. Any lawyer would tell you the same thing that I'm telling you right now. Just because you don't understand doesn't make me wrong, okay? I'm giving you such an easy overview of this. I'm describing it so clearly and so easily. Stop being, different from reality.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Different from reality. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know. Anyway, so Hunter
How
Biden's going to
are
see
we
jail
different from
time.
reality?
Is it fair to say that the majority of all politicians at the end of the day aren't people that we morally align with, and at the gotta look a different direction? Because I don't think there's really people on either side that I'd want to have in my house or be friends with or be anything but like.
Really, what is the worst
gotta
thing
look
that
at other
Kamala
than that.
Harris has ever done?
How about when she put
I mean, I couldn't tell you
so
a
many
list,
victims in
but
jail for marijuana charges? How about that?
All right. Well, you can't say the name of the M drug on live, but only 45 people were convicted of the current stature in the state of California, and she actually advocated in 2014 to end the war on drugs and to decriminalize the use of the M drug on the federal level, and then in 2018 co-signed on legislation in the Senate that did exactly that. The only reason why, right, the use of the M drug is not federally legal today is because of the Republican platform. So if you want to call that immoral, if you want to say the persecution for the use of the M drug is immoral. Well, I mean, you just called a fundamental virtue of conservatism, right, that has been heavily prevalent within mainstream politics and our federal government and the legislation which they failed to pass for the last 35 years. You are, out of virtue, condemning the Republican Party. We're down to 4. Look at that. 4 people left. We're having fun. By the way, if anybody would like to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds on those 2 platforms. You'll get a notification at the top of my phone screen. I could read out your name. I could read out an attached... You cannot put your Venmo up. I can read out an attached message, and I can give you a shout-out. All right, so what's next? Let's go ahead and play a little game here. So, anyways, should violent sexual offenders be able to buy and own guns?
no.
No.
So Donald Trump shouldn't be able to buy and own a gun, but he should be able to sit in the Oval Office with access to the nuclear codes?
A violent sexual offender, is that a felony charge?
A violent sexual offender
Yeah,
describes a rapist.
Is that
why
a
are the
felony?
nuclear codes even being brought up?
That-
He
that's
didn't
not
touch
a
them
legal
last
term.
time. Like,
So
why
it's
is that even getting brought up?
Because we shouldn't be voting for rapists, you psychopath.
I'm not sure.
Are you questioning why the fact that this presidential candidate raped a woman
you're
is being
bringing up the
brought up?
gun, and
That's kind of a
compared to
stupid question, because if you're a
nuclear
felon
codes.
from what sounds like you would be a felon from a charge like that, then you wouldn't be able to buy a gun anyway. So that's a dumb question.
So the term violent sexual offender is not a legal term.
Okay, but
that's just talking about people.
I don't
that
know.
are
I just
rapists.
feel like that kind of comparison is just a little extreme.
No, because he's literally a violent sexual offender. He raped a woman.
Convicted?
Use
Was
out
he
liable in a
convicted?
civil court.
Was he convicted though?
When you use the term convicted, are you specifying a criminal arraignment in a criminal court? No, he was held liable in a civil court.
Well, that seemed,
okay.
convicted seemed to be your standard when we were talking about the 34 felonies.
Because that was
it's
the
fair to stay
determination of a criminal
consistent.
court. Well, I think both criminal and civil courts typically make correct determinations of the law. If you're curious, I'd actually say that the civil court that held Trump liable for the rape of E. Jean Carroll had proved that it occurred beyond a reasonable shadow of a doubt. The standard of evidence in a civil court does not have a maximum level of evidence. It has a minimum standard of evidence, that being a preponderance of evidence. So you could prove something to be 100% certain in a civil court, higher than that threshold present in a criminal court, and it would just still be labeled as proven via preponderance of evidence because it's the minimum, right? I don't know if I'm detailing this correctly, but once again, what I will say is I do believe that the civil court that determined that Donald Trump is a rapist was correct. Do you disagree?
Hey, Dean.
Do you disagree? Anyone?
I wouldn't listen. I thought you were just talking about his claim. My bad. I was going to ask you if you could use a legal term to describe what you said, if they should be able to buy a gun or not, because buying a gun is a legal matter. It's not all the time based off morality or the kind of person. Obviously,
Well, yeah, we're asking you what you think should be the case. I'm just literally asking you if violent rapists should be able to buy guns in your optimal world.
If I had to choose, I would say no.
Yeah, so you don't think that Trump should be able to buy a gun, but you think he should have
I didn't
access
say
to
Trump.
nuclear guns. Yes, you did, because Trump is a violent rapist.
How's he violent?
Because grape is always violent, and he was held liable for grape. It's proven that he's a rapist, yeah. Zoe, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love, Zoe. Everybody, please show some love to Zoe down below in the comment section. And Kendall, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Kendall says for the brain acne of this group. I appreciate you so much for the love, Kendall. Everybody, please show some love to Kendall down below in the comment section. W's for Zoe and W's for Kendall. So, yep, you don't think rapists should be buying on guns. Trump is a rapist. It was proven in court. And yeah, that'd mean that you don't think Trump should be able to buy a gun, but you do think you should have access to nuclear codes. That seems quite contradictory, don't you think?
Why is someone in the comments asking me if I have committed rape? That seems kind of like a far claim.
So focus on me, not the comments. There's 8.6 thousand people in
rude.
here.
I don't want. That's very rude, actually.
Okay. Focus on me.
Dude.
So
what's the question?
That's fucked up. All right, sorry.
So Ty, do you want to go ahead and respond to what I said?
I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I understand that, but my thing is, if he did that, obviously that's terrible. And when I find myself supporting Trump, I never support him as I agree, he's a terrible person. I'll say it firsthand. Not a good person, but his ability to lead has always impressed me, and I don't know, I like the way the country runs with him. So,
Okay, Ty Money, watch this.
I agree with
one
him.
policy that he influenced to get passed during his first 4 years that you liked.
One policy that I liked, the one where he, I don't know if necessarily policy, but he had the numbers for the lowest unemployment for African Americans and groups of diversity.
Okay.
The lowest unemployment, disabled people as well, so more people had jobs.
Okay. So if there was a lower rate of unemployment for minority communities under Biden, would you say that Biden was a better president?
No. I mean, off one thing.
Okay. So I asked you to I asked you to specify a policy under Trump that you liked. You couldn't name a policy, so then you just said that we had the lowest rate of unemployment for black people ever. And then I asked you if you'd hold a consistent logical standard here, saying that if it was lower under Biden, would you support Biden over Trump? And you said no. But if you're curious, right, we did have a 50-year low level of unemployment for black people under Trump at 5.6%, but then under Biden and Harris, it was down to 5.2 twice. The more you know, right? So it seems like you not only failed to name one of Trump's policies, but you also highlighted an area where Biden and Harris excelled far beyond Trump.
Well, what about global peace, meeting up with world leaders like Kim Jong-un?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just give you the argument. Let's say that Trump was much better for global peace, and that's something that you really care about, right?
Right.
He's too straight.
Well, we know it's worse today, because today he's not advocating for peace in Israel. He wants to continue to give them money and weapons to destroy Palestine. He's not advocating for peace in the Middle East. He's advocating for Israel to go in to Iran and flatten them. He said he'd do it himself if they didn't.
I think he also requested for the hostages to be saved, to be released.
And what did he say?
Well, don't you think he has
the
resume? He's proven that he's been able to kind of settle these situations in the past.
With strength.
He's got his head screwed on tight and realized he could probably figure out a way to do it again?
No, because he wants more people to die. Because when the Biden-Harris administration started advocating for a ceasefire, right, which means hostages are released and people stop dying, he called Benjamin Netanyahu, told him not to accept the ceasefire agreement. He's being investigated by the DOJ for a violation of the Logan Act. Any sensible, rational mind would absolutely make the recognition that the most optimal solution for Israel and Palestine is a ceasefire agreement, because innocent people are dying, and that's the way that we can reduce the amount of innocent people that do. And then your warmongering fuck is over here saying that he doesn't want a ceasefire agreement and he wants them to quote unquote win the war, right? It's not about saving innocent human life. It's not about saving the lives of the hostages. It's all about Israel quote unquote winning the war for him, as he said at his rally in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And you want to sit here and tell me that that's peace? Now that's something else. So you're asking about the conflicts under his Trump term by interrupting me. Sure. Let's talk about the Yemen genocide. Let's talk about when we stranded 60,000 Kurds by pulling out of Kurdistan, telling them to either leave or stay and starve and die. Let's talk about the 65 service members that die. Let's talk about a self-proclaimed war in ISIS. Let's talk about continued conflicts in Afghanistan. Let's talk about the 432% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East. Let's talk about the proxy war that we had with Russia in Syria, with U.S. troops on the ground fighting Russian troops, okay, right? Or we could talk about how today he's isolating us from other diplomatic leaders within the EU, within the UN, right, because of our tariffs that he's going to impose on them, as well as he's now siding with Putin over NATO, Mexico insofar as the peace agreement that he wants to offer Ukraine for their isolating us away from our allies in Europe. And he's on top of that lying about conversations that he's having with the president of Mexico and then wanting to impose a 25% tariff on Canada unless they become the 51st state. There's never been a worse president for global relations in modern U.S. history than Trump.
Okay.
I think you don't realize.
Could I
think that was
agree
a
with
meme.
if I were to agree with
was
you
a
on
meme.
that? Okay, so if I were to agree with you on that, are you willing to agree that Obama deported more illegal immigrants and dropped more drones than Trump?
Yeah, so there's more deportations under both Obama's term and Biden's term. However, there is not more bomb drops. Like I said, there's a 432% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East under Trump.
Okay,
That's also
so then what? Okay,
technology
so
increase as well, though.
what is it that makes an Obama not racist?
What the fuck?
What?
I got
So
a question.
okay,
Dude.
Obama deported more
Oh my
immigrants than
God.
any U.S.
1
president,
second.
correct?
Kristen, thank you so much for the $20 on Venmo. Everybody,
when's
please
it
do
my
show some
turn?
love to Kristen down below in the comment section. I do really appreciate you for the love, Kristen. Show some love to Kristen down below, you guys. And Genesis, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate you
Kristen.
so much. And Bob! Oh my God. Yo! Bob with the $200 on PayPal. Oh my God.
He doesn't
I
want anyone
want
in
to
the
see
comments Googling Obama
nothing but
deported.
Wow,
W
Bob.
Bobs in the comment section for the next 30 minutes. W Bobs. Oh my God.
Let's hear it for Bob.
So everybody, please show some love to Bob. I really appreciate you for the love. The note here
Shout
says,
out,
just a
Bob.
Canadian girl enjoying what you do. Keep up the good work.
Bob built my dock.
Bob, that is so incredibly kind of you. Please show some love to Bob. Holy shit, that is insane. I cannot thank you enough. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much, Bob. W's for Bob all day, every day, baby. And then Allison, thank you for the $10 on Venmo as well. We love Bob. Thank you so much.
Hey, Dean. Hey, Dean.
What?
It's Dr. Silly Goose here. I was just wondering, since we're on the topic of foreign conflicts, do you disagree with terrorism?
Yeah, terrorism's bad.
What about people that fund terrorism?
Funding terrorism is bad.
Okay, so then you understand why Israel needs to destroy Hamas, right?
First of all, no, I don't think that Israel should continue their fight to destroy Hamas because they're not just destroying Hamas, they're killing innocent women and babies. And to make like the virtuous leap from saying terrorism is bad to like killing innocent women and children.
Well, no, I'm not talking about
is a leap that I can't make.
Innocent women, so let's not do that, right? We're not going to put words.
No, literally, no one would have cared if Israel just had a retaliatory attack against the specific members of Hamas that had killed Israeli citizens on October 7th. No one would have cared. Okay, why I'm pro Palestine is because they didn't just do that. They also killed, at a minimum, 40,000 innocent Palestinians. It's an annihilation. And no, I'm not pro Hamas. Okay.
Well, Hamas is a terrorist
I'm done with that shit. Hamas
right?
is a terrorist organization.
You're right. They're hiding behind civilians. They're hiding in hospitals and
yeah,
schools.
and so that justifies bombing the hospitals, bombing the schools. So then you don't think what Israel's done is justified because that's exactly what they have done. They've bombed the schools.
I think you need to destroy Hamas. I don't know the greatest way to do it. I don't think any of us know the greatest way to do it.
Well, seemingly now you're obfuscating away from the topic because is it justified or is it not justified to drop bombs on schools and hospitals to kill the terrorists even though there's innocent civilians inside as well?
It's probably not good.
Okay, so you're
how do you
that the
the
state of Israel is doing things that aren't good, right? Killing innocent life that is ultimately not justified. So you agree with me in the UFC?
I never said it was good. I said they need to eliminate Hamas. That's what I said. So don't put words in my mouth. That's not fair, Dean.
Oh my God! Oh wait, so you're pro-Palestine? You just think that Hamas is bad?
Yeah, I think Hamas. I'm not pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. I'm pro-peace, man. And I think you need to eliminate terrorist organizations.
Obviously, you're just engaging in sophistry because you can't hold your water in this debate. That's really what it is. That's like ultimately what people do here is they engage in sophistry because they can't hold their water in their debate. Yeah, no, sure. Because you ask me about Hamas, right? You try to like get me in this gotcha about how Israel has the right to be doing to Palestine what they're doing today, right? And then like I fucking quadruple back and get like the Kobe dunk of the year. and then you're like, well, I never said this, I never said that. All this sophistry, all the obfuscation. It's really annoying. But if you were pro-peace, then
What are
you'd
you
probably be
talking about, dude?
pro-Palestine.
I didn't say it. I never said that Israel's justified in bombing civilians. It's just a lie.
Okay.
You're just making that up on the spot.
So do you agree that Benjamin Netanyahu should be unseated from his position in Israeli leadership?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, well then I don't think that you're qualified to be having this conversation. All right. Well, we ran through all of them, so now we're going to move on to our next guest. Everybody just do give us a minute to move on to the next guest here, y'all. If you did vote for Trump, make sure to hop in that queue. We're going to get our next guest up in this up in the live right now. What's up, Ben? Did you vote for Trump?
We're a racist socialist.
How old are you?
18.
Okay, Ben, you're not 18. Moving on to our next guest. Nima, thank you so much for the $1 in PayPal. I do appreciate you for the love, Nima. If anybody else watching the stream does want to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. Frankie, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I really appreciate you, Frankie. Everybody, please show some love to Frankie down below in the comment section right now while we are getting our next guest up in the box right now, quite frankly. Spam MAGA down below in that chat if you do want to come up, though, y'all. We love it. We love it. Looks like we're hitting that hard point in the live where one's loading in. What's up, Grace? Did you vote for Trump? Nikki, did you vote for Trump? Grace or Nikki, is anyone home? Nobody's
That was
home.
a mistake. I didn't mean to join.
Oh, no worries, Nikki. We're going to go to get our next guest up in here. Spam MAGA if you want to come up. It typically helps me out when you just spam it in the chat because there's like literal like robots in the queue. What's up, Freddie? Did you vote for Trump? Hi, did you vote for Trump?
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
I don't believe you. Grace, did you vote for Trump?
Yeah.
Yo, 165796994. Did you vote for Trump?
Yeah.
Okay, both of you voted for Trump. Why?
I'll let him go first.
I voted for Trump just because, honestly, I'm a Democrat, but I hate Kamala Harris. I think that she ran a terrible campaign. I think that she really focused on donor money and corporate greed. And honestly, not voting for Kamala Harris it's not really a pro vote for Trump. I think Trump's terrible. I think he's a dictator.
I just want to ask you a question. Why are you a Democrat?
Why am I a Democrat? Because I typically believe in more of the policies that the Democratic Party proposes.
Like what
than the
specifically?
Republican Party. Higher minimum wage, paid family leave, public option for healthcare, stuff like that. And I mean,
so better social safety nets for like members of the low and the middle class?
Exactly, and I understand that the Democratic Party...
Okay, so Kamala Harris's tax policy was designed to give better social safety nets to members of the low and the middle class. Literally no one would have benefited from her policy apart from members of the low and the middle class for
but
that
they don't
reason.
Fight for it. They say stuff. They say all this stuff every 4 years. They get into power. I mean, back in 2020, I voted for Joe Biden. I mean, we got him in office. We got Raphael.
Okay,
Warnock.
it's not just saying stuff that they won't do. We had her literal policy. Like, for instance, she wanted to increase the child tax credit to $5,000 for newborn, $3,600 for anyone from the age of 1 to 5, $3,000 for anyone up to 17 after that. Like, we also knew that she specifically wanted to limit the amount that any American citizen would pay out of pocket for pharmaceuticals to $2,000 a year, right? We knew that she wanted to offer $25,000 subsidy to first-time homebuyers.
You prefer Joe over Kamala? Are you crazy?
How old are you?
18.
Okay, no, I prefer Kamala Harris over Joe, and you could wait your turn, buddy. I know a little social awareness in Trump supporters, but that's okay. You could wait. So go ahead. Like, it wasn't just like what they were saying that they weren't going to do. It was like not only like written down in her proposed policy, but is also approved in the last fiscal year budget, like under some of Biden's plans. It was going to happen, man.
But can you admit that the Democratic establishment, every 4 years, they come out with all these policies and all this stuff that in theory could be very good. We, try very hard and get them in power, and then they turn their backs on us. They focus on their donors, and I understand the Republicans do the same thing. So it's not really a vote for Trump. It's just like frustration that like.
Why are you pivoting? So first of all, like what you're saying is false. Like no, there's only one thing that Biden ran on that he didn't do, and that was like a wealth tax. But apart from that, he did everything that he promised. He did more than Trump. In fact, he even did things that Trump promised but didn't pull through on, like the infrastructure bill. But that's like all regardless to the point. You told me that you're a Democrat because you care about social safety nets for members of the low and the middle class, right? Harris's policy was only social safety nets for members of the low and the middle class. Donald Trump's policy was actually regressively harmful for members of the low and middle class, took their social safety nets away, dismantled the Federal Board of Education, dismantled Social Security, imposed tariffs that would have disproportionately affected members of the low and the middle class the most, while his tax policy ultimately served to the ultra-wealthy and corporations. And you're going to sit here and act like he was a better option in accordance with your values? Absolutely fucking not. You're either delusional, insane, dumb, or a liar.
No, I'm not saying he's any better.
Kiefer, thank you for the shiny air balloon.
The Democratic Party, it's a way to get them to wait because they don't listen to the voters. We vote them for them every time, and they don't listen. It's not anything to say that Trump's better. Obviously, Trump's not better. Trump's terrible.
Okay, another pivot away from what I'm saying because you don't want to address what I'm saying. One more pivot in your gun. I hate it when the pivots happen. I asked you why you're a Democrat. You named your Democrat values. I detailed to you exactly how Kamala Harris's fiscal policy would achieve your values to a greater end than Donald Trump's, and Donald Trump's actively fought against your values, right? And now you're going to talk about anything but my point. If you don't address my point head on, I'm going to move on to the Trump 2024 747 guy.
And just to confirm, your point is why I didn't think Kamala Harris, even though she was claiming to propose all these economic safety valves, why I didn't believe her and why I think that, voting for Trump was a better idea than voting for that. Is that what you're asking?
So I just want to clarify, you literally don't think that she would have implemented or proposed economic policy?
No.
Okay, why?
Because I think that, honestly, when a lot of these younger politicians come into office and come onto the scene, they have a lot of good ideas, and I think they are very pure in their intentions. I think when the big donor money comes into play and they start swallowing that up, I do think that affects the way politicians behave in office. Like, I don't think you can really deny that to an extent.
1 second, chat. Do we have lag? Put a yes in the chat if we have lag. I could fix it. Put a yes in the chat if we have lag. I could fix it. Lag is gone. It's fixed. Only a little. Yes. No. It's fine. Yes. Okay, I'll fix the lag real quick. No, not anymore. Nope. Yes. You're good. It's gone. Fixed. No more. Great. Awesome. Anyways, back to what we were saying here. Back to what we were saying here. So you don't think that she was going to implement her policy because of donors?
I think that there's a lot of examples of special interest groups getting in the way of policies that are getting proposed. I mean, for example, back in 2021.
So then what economic policy would she pass? Because Donald Trump's tax code expired in 2025. She already had half of her policy approved by Congress in the budget for 2025 under Biden. If she got elected, she would have had to pass something to replace the TCJA with. If she wouldn't have passed her proposed economic policy, what would she have passed?
Anything substantial. I think maybe she would have ticked it back up to 25% or 28%, but that's not enough.
25, 28, what are you talking about? What percent?
I'm talking about the corporate tax rate. The corporate tax rate, sorry.
So she would have done one thing in her plan, but she wouldn't have done the other? So you're saying that she would have increased the taxes on corporations, but she wouldn't have passed any of her tax cuts for the members of the low and the middle class? You have no argument for that.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
That is okay. Then what the fuck are you saying? No one knows what you're saying, right? Because at the end of the day, she had proposed policy that was approved by Congress for next year's budget. Half of it was under Biden. Look up FY 2025. You will see half of her plan is listed. We knew that the TCJA was going to expire in 2025. It had to be replaced with something. Obviously, if she was elected, she would have replaced it with what she ran on. Okay, I just surprised you in the chat there. By fixing the lag. Repeat whatever you just said.
Do you think that, let's say she raised the corporate tax rate up to 28%, do you think that, in your opinion, because obviously, I mean, you can say that.
No, shut the fuck up. I didn't ask you about the corporate tax rate. I asked you what the hell, like what the fuck she was going to do if she didn't pass her economic policy. You're being so irrational.
Then why
what is going to happen next year to Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? What is going to happen?
He's going to pass more corporate tax rates.
No. I'm not asking. What is going to happen to Donald Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act next year?
Oh, it'll expire and they'll renew it and make it worse. I understand.
And if Kamala Harris was elected, would it still have expired?
Yes.
Would Congress still have renewed it?
Maybe.
So you're saying it will get renewed under Trump, but it wouldn't have gotten renewed under Harris? So they would have just let it expire and nothing would have ever happened?
No, I'm saying that I don't think they would. The Democrats would have fought hard to actually get a good tax policy that would actually help the middle class. I think they would get the middle class droppings just like the Republicans did.
We already had our policy that was good for the low. We already knew exactly what they were going to pass and renew it with.
Well, no, we know what she said. We don't know what she's actually going to do. She's corrupt.
Okay, wait, so give me one instance of Biden and Harris running on something substantial in 2019, getting elected, then not doing it.
The $15 raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour back in 2021 when we were trying to pass, I forget the name of the exact bill, but it was like...
They didn't run for the presidency in 2021.
No, I'm saying an example of something they said in 2019. They said that they were going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. They didn't. They stripped it out of a COVID relief bill in 2021 that was added into it. 8 senators in Delaware, and Biden, there's evidence, and you look it up. Biden said that he's willing to take that out. He didn't fight for it. He let Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, and a lot of these other Democrats railroad what he was trying to do. And instead of going to like these places every week and really trying to put a lot of pressure on them, he kept saying, my bipartisan friends this, my bipartisan friends that, and didn't fight for anybody.
Okay, yeah, so I would like it to be known that he actually never ran on a $15 minimum wage prior to his campaign on the federal level in 2019. What you're specifically talking about is him campaigning for a $15 minimum wage for federal jobs, and he passed it. Go look it up. Go look it up. Seriously, go look up Biden $15 minimum wage. You will be presented with an article from Reuters that is titled U.S. Appeals Court Upholds Biden's $15 minimum wage for federal employees, where they literally passed something that he ran on after he was elected. So it's like not only are you unable to name something that he ran on that he didn't pass during his first term, right? Now you're just going to blatantly assume that Kamala Harris wasn't going to pass a policy that she ran on this term, knowing that they had to replace it, knowing that half of it was already approved under the fiscal year budget for 2025. You don't make any goddamn sense. This is literally paranoia at its best. Like you don't have an argument. You don't have a position. You just have
I'm literally telling you my position. I'm literally telling you my position.
Did Donald Trump run on the infrastructure bill in 2015?
Yeah, and he's a liar.
And did he pass it?
Of course not, because he's a liar.
Did Donald Trump run on building a wall on our southern border and sticking the bill to Mexico?
Yeah, and he built 50 miles, and the wall's obviously stupid.
And who paid for it?
Obviously, the U.S. taxpayers paid for 50 miles of...
Yeah.
I'm not delusional like these other...
So it's like
we can
name all of these things that Trump ran on that he didn't do. Also, healthcare, never did that. We can name all of these things that Trump ran on that he didn't do. We can't name anything that Biden and Harris ran on and didn't do that was substantial, right? And then the cherry on top is the fact that half of Kamala Harris's tax plan was already approved by Congress. They had to replace it. And the president is always driving what they want to replace it with. This is such a losing position for you. I can't even believe that you're trying to make this argument.
About the Voting Rights Act, I mean, understand it's not a social safety net policy, but they said that they were going to try to pass the Voting Rights Act. They didn't.
What's the Voting Rights Act?
The John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
What is that?
What do you mean, what is it? Like the name of the bill, or are you asking what was it? I think it would have done a number of things. I know one thing in that bill, and maybe it wasn't the Voting Rights Act, maybe because I know there was another bill as well, and I'm sorry that I don't remember that specific name, but I know that one thing was to get rid of state legislatures drawing these congressional districts, because that's a disaster, and that it would have had an independent commission set up in all these states to be able to draw those districts. I think that would be great, because I don't think it makes any sense for people in legislatures to be able to draw their own districts. I think that's corrupt.
Okay, well, actually, here I have an article specifically by Douglas Brinkley, who's a presidential historian as well as an expert in constitutional law. You could find it on AP, just search up on voting rights. Biden's power to act on his own is limited. And it literally details how the president couldn't achieve this. Right? So, like, now you're just going to name the things that the president can't do, which is backed by constitutional lawyers. And, like, that is the best argument that you have? I have a question. Can presidents influence congressional policy on tax reform?
I think they can influence the narrative that's getting spewed.
God, you make no sense. That wasn't even a response to what I said. Yes, the answer would have been yes. Not only can presidents influence tax policy, presidents do influence tax policy every single time it expires, right? The next president, whether it was Trump or Kamala Harris, they would have influenced this policy. I'd say that Kamala Harris is actually more likely to influence hers because she already has half of it approved by Congress. And you're going to sit here and act like that couldn't happen? You're a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to waste my time on you. You know what, sir? In fact, you have earned the tinfoil hat.
What the fuck's that?
The tinfoil hat to keep the 5G radiation away.
So you really think that the Democratic politicians are honest and good people?
Dude, all that I said was that Kamala Harris would have passed her tax reform. You could be a slightly dishonest, bad person, right, that runs on tax policy, then passes it. I mean, fuck, Trump did. Trump did? Wait, you agree with me that Trump's a piece of shit? Even he passed a tax policy that he ran.
Of course. Yeah, because Trump won't pass the tax policy that helped people that were rich. You saying Kamala Harris would pass a policy that would more substantially help middle-class people, that I don't agree with. I think she would have passed a tax policy. I just don't think it would have been as substantially good for the middle class as what she was saying. I think that politicians lie.
Wait, what was her tax policy?
I forget. For the corporate tax policy, was it 20, not 25 or 28? I've heard both.
No, we're going to talk about what taxes was she advocating to cut?
She said that she wants to lower taxes on tips. I mean, which I understand that both candidates were saying that. Okay, so that's kind of
that was like the only anything else?
She wanted to lower income taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year, right?
Actually, that wasn't proposed. She wanted to do deductibles and tax cuts through child tax credits, through limiting the amount of money that people could pay out of pocket, as well as subsidies. Any reductions in marginal tax rates was actually something that she didn't announce. You're just talking out of your ass. You don't even know the policy that she proposed. You're just kind of a tinfoil hat man, just like me, and you just say that she's not going to pass it because you're really paranoid.
But what's the evidence of major pieces of legislation really getting fought for besides one or two or three pieces of a cycle? How do you not see it? I guess that's what's frustrating to me is I feel like the Democrats, we're going to keep losing elections if we don't actually.
You're not a Democrat. You're not a Democrat. Also, what's the evidence of policy getting passed? The Biden-Harris administration literally passed the most monumental policy out of any presidency in modern U.S. history. Let's go ban. Let's go. How about this? We're gonna go ban for ban, comparing the policy passed under Trump to Biden and Harris. Let's see who passed more monumental policy.
I hate Trump. I don't understand the purpose of that.
You voted for him because you thought he was better to achieve this goal. Now you're critiquing Kamala Harris by saying that they didn't pass much monumental policy under their last term. They passed more than any modern American presidency did.
I really more want to debate how the future of the Democratic Party should be shaped.
God, it's like you can't even defend your own points. You just want to talk about this virtue signaling bullshit because
I
all
hate
you have
Trump.
is rhetoric.
How many times
you only have rhetoric, man. You could sit here and you could just rhetoric your way into an emotionally driven belief, but then you can't actually substantiate it when push comes to shove. You rhetoricked your way to the belief that they didn't do anything monumental. And I was going to sit here and inform you about the infrastructure bill, the Chips and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the PACT Act, the American Rescue Plan. You just don't even care about any of it. You don't want to talk about what's real, man. No, Dylan, thank you for the $15 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love. Everybody, please show some love to Dylan down below in the comment section. Show some massive love to Dylan down below. Chat, should we keep this guest up or should we move on to this guy?
I acknowledge what you're saying, but I feel like that's table stakes. I feel like we could do so much better.
With Trump?
No, not with Trump. Trump sucks.
So then why don't you vote for Kamala Harris? Because you think Trump is better than Kamala Harris.
No, I don't, but I had to say I voted for Trump to be able to talk about this.
Wait. If you didn't vote, so you voted for Trump even knowing that he was worse?
I voted for Kamala Harris, but I had to tell you to get up here.
Ah, Jesus Christ, what a loser. Hi, why do you vote for Trump?